Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Working on the LS again today. Trying to get the subframe back in the car. I don't have any help right now. Maybe Michael might come over in a little bit. Not sure, but I'm just gonna try and tackle it on my own anyway. And hopefully it's not too difficult, but got pretty much everything prepped for it to go back in. So it's now just getting it on the jack, getting it up in there and bolting it back in. So yeah. And if you hear piano music in the background, not sure where that's coming from, but it is very peaceful. I can get down with that. Some nice piano music while I work on my car. You know, a hand slips off a bolt, I punch something and bust my knuckle. How am I gonna get mad if I'm listening to piano music? All right, here we are, subframe, got the uppers in, everything is good. I tried to get some of the rust off with a wire brush and everything and clean it up a little bit, but it's going to take a lot more work than I'm really care to put into it. Yes, I know while this thing is out, I should probably, strip everything down and paint this and blah, 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 but I have had such a hard time with this the past few weeks that I just really don't want to do it. Sure, I'll regret this at some point, but it is what it is. I mean, it's the subframe. It's still in good condition. It just has surface rust on it. But I really, really do not want to tear everything off of this and paint it for no reason other than to say that it's painted. Yeah, I also only have this week off of work. So this is really the only opportunity I'm gonna have to get the subframe back in the car. Sure, I could do it any other time, but this is the only time that I confidently know that I have the time needed to get it done in one session. Because when I get home from work, there's a bunch of stuff I gotta do at home, editing, all of this other stuff with the brand. By the time I get done, caught up with stuff, I have about 2 hours left until I go to bed. The shop is about 30 or so minutes away from home, so I have to waste an hour or more driving here and back. It's not that easy to do stuff after work. So having this week off, I'm just trying to get this in there and ready to go, and then we can move on to other more exciting things. Which you guys may have seen in the end of the last video. Started trimming this up a little better and started thinking about how I want to do the doors. Definitely pumped to get into that a little bit and trying to sort of figure out what the next step is. All right, everything is pretty much lined up in place. Probably needs to scoot back a hair, but I'm pretty much just gonna start jacking it up, trying to get everything lined up, and we'll go from there. All right, one side is up and basically in there at this point. It's just struggling to line up right now. Okay. Like in theory, it looks like it's in the right spot, but it's just not. Alright, I apologize that I'm doing a bad job of filming. I'm just really trying to do this. This is super difficult with one person, and I feel like it might be easier with two jacks, so you could like independently control each side. But what I'm going to try is using one of my little scissor jack things, the OEM ones, and use that to like push one side up and get it lined up, because I have 3 of the 4 holes and like pins and whatever lined up, but there's one that won't go in, and if I keep trying to jack it up, it just jacks the whole car up. So this is super difficult.
Okay, so thanks to the scissor jack, managed to at least jack it up enough so that it's on each stud, and then screwed the bolt in a little bit and tightened it somewhat just so it can hold itself. So I pulled the jack out, and now basically I'm just gonna use the jack on, I guess, each corner to try and just bring it up a little bit further, see if I can tighten it a little bit more until the whole thing is like sitting flush to the frame.
All right, this has been absolutely miserable. I have not been filming, but I've managed to get it stuck 3 or 4 times already, where one side just goes up a little bit higher than the other, blah, 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 and it's just a mess. So, managed to drop it back down, and now my issue is the back ones want to sit in there right every time I jack it up, but the fronts don't, and then it gets like stuck on the back. So what I'm going to try and do, conveniently, I have 2 of those OEM scissor jacks. I'm basically going to put one on each side at the front, jack that up to level it out, and then I'm going to attempt to try and jack everything up at the same time so that it gets the rear and the front on evenly. This shit has been a huge pain in the ass. It would be so much easier if I had help.
I'm telling you right now, do not do this at home because it sucks. Huge amounts of cock. Alright, if you will see here, the subframe is now back on the fucking ground. I have wasted easily 3 hours trying to fucking get this lined up, and it just does not want to go in. And it's now sitting extremely awkwardly on the jack because it just fell out. Completely over it. This is extremely frustrating. Doesn't matter what I do, the fronts will not slide on properly. Like, I've tried jacking up every single corner, like, all at once, and the fronts, they just keep lifting the car up. They do not go in. I don't understand it. This would be so much easier if I had somebody with me to just literally, like, eyeball the other side while I do one side, because I'm adjusting on one side, then having to get up, go over the other side, do the same thing. And, like, this is fucking miserable. For everybody out there that has, you know, nice facilities and like nice tools and help and like has done this a million times, fuck you guys, because this is my first time doing this. This sucks. This sucks really hard. So I will be extremely happy to just get this over with and moving on, because hello, Lori. I literally do not understand. I have been here for like 6 hours now trying to do the same exact thing. Tried multiple different methods. Yes, I have looked up in there with the light to make sure it's not hitting on something else, and that's what's stopping it from going any further. Cannot for the life of me figure this out. It's driving me nuts. I've tried so hard. Trying to jack up the front first and try and get those seated, trying to jack them all up at the same time, try to do the rear, try to do one side, try to do the other side, all at the same time. Doesn't fucking work. Starving hungry, I'm pissed off, I'm so over it with this fucking subframe. I'm so ready to be done with this shit, but I just cannot seem to get it to go back on the studs.
Okay, it's the next day. Yesterday was not fun for me at all. I wasted about 6 hours of just kind of bullshitting, trying to figure this out. And then thankfully, Michael did come over here and give me a hand, and we made a little bit of progress. I didn't film just because it was getting beyond frustrating. And now it's not completely done. The impact actually ran out of battery, and then my other impact ran out of battery. As you can tell, this is taking quite a bit of power to get this in here. So pretty much what we did was we basically started jacking it up and then just doing each corner a little bit at a time, jacking up different areas to try and relieve pressure. It really time consuming, but it is almost in there. It's most of the way on the studs. I really just need to go bit by bit and hit each bolt with the impact until it's kind of sitting flush. But
Yesterday was frustrating to say the least, but I'm happy that that day is over. I'm feeling better about today. I'm happy that this is like most of the way done. So now that the Impact has some battery, it shouldn't be too difficult. And I actually bought my daily over here. This thing has been sitting outside my apartments for a couple of months now after it spun a rod bearing. So obviously I didn't drive it over here, but I got to use the Excursion to trailer for the first time today. That was pretty sweet. I literally couldn't even tell that I was towing anything. It might be because that car is so light, but the Excursion is fucking fantastic. And I got a new grill on it. I gotta show you this really, really quick because I don't want to take away from the LS video, but it looks so much better now. Dude, that chrome grill made so much difference. I could not stand the paint match one. This now looks how it should have looked. Still needs a little bit extra stuff, still need headlights, tow mirrors, and do all the lower cladding the same color as the LS, but I love this thing. I'm gonna be slapping a motor in this thing relatively soon, but not worried about it right this second. Poor thing has been sitting, and it now has an ant's nest in it somewhere, so that needs to be taken care of before I put it in the shop, because I don't want ants everywhere. So, but I fucking love this thing. Most people would have just scrapped it, but you know, this was a $500 car, and I am happy to spend some money on it because I really, really like driving this thing. Okay, let's get on to the LS. So, you probably can barely see, but that is almost sitting flush right there. And then this side has just a little bit further to go. The fronts is what I was having the most issues with, so I'm trying to get those seated as best as possible before everything else. Can you guys still hear that piano music? It's the same shit that was playing yesterday. It's very calming, and you know what's funny is when they switched it off at like, I don't know what time it was last night, that's when I immediately started getting frustrated with this. So the piano music actually is helping. Quick tip for you guys. If you want to work on your car and you don't want to get frustrated, listen to some piano music. Find a nice playlist, get in your vibes, chill. Fuck! Okay, so bad news. This is maybe not the best method. I don't know how well you can see that, but the threads are stripped way the fuck off on this bolt, and it doesn't want to, it just spins freely in there now. So now, I'm worried that the stud on the fucking frame is like completely stripped out too. If that's the case, I'm very, very over this. So I guess I'm gonna have to go get another bolt. So forever ago, when I was thinking about doing this, or if I was gonna do this in the near future, my biggest fear was fucking up one of the studs on the frame, and I don't even know what to do now. I'm praying that I can literally put another bolt in there and it'd be totally fine. But if the stud is fucked up, I really don't know what to do. If any of you guys have any suggestions, or you know specifically for an LS400 if the stud can be easily replaced, please let me know, because this is miserable. Pull the back seat out to try and see if you can like see where the stud is from inside the car, and of course you can't. It's very hidden. Right now, as it sits, I'm wishing I never did this. I'm wishing that I never pulled the subframe out. Should have just left it the fuck alone. I really, really am regretting this. And I know once it's back together and it's all fine and dandy, I'm still gonna fucking hate it because there's solid bushings and it's probably gonna be like noisy and full of vibrations, and I wish I never did this. I should have just left it alone, but I wanted to go that fucking 12 mil lower in the back. The piano music is helping because I could be really angry at this right now. I've just been dealing with too much bullshit with this goddamn thing, but it's okay. I will leave it and deal with it another day. Everything is almost back in after all of the shit that I've dealt with. One bolt. And like, dude, this thing, this is fucked. Like, it's absolutely destroyed. So I'm praying that it is just this. If I go and get another bolt and it magically goes right back in there and threads in and it's all good, I'll be very happy. But if that stud is destroyed, I might cry on camera. I might. Alright, well, this was easily the worst video working on this car in the series yet. Thank you guys for tuning in and actually staying through it. And I hope you found some kind of enjoyment watching me struggle with this thing. I didn't even film half the goddamn time, or even the peak of how irritated I got with this. But as I've said in other videos, working on a car is not just fucking rainbows and shit. It's gonna be frustrating. There's gonna be shit days, and this is one of those days. So yeah, very much over it. Very much regret doing anything with the subframe. If you're thinking about doing this, I don't know what you're doing, maybe have some experience doing it before, and you have competent friends that can help you out too, because me trying to figure this shit out on my own has been miserable, and I feel like somebody is going to post in the comments and tell me exactly what it is that I did wrong or how I should have done it, and thank you for the constructive criticism, but it's not very helpful now just because this is already fucked up. And yes, I know that using the impact and the bolts to try and pull the subframe up one at a time was definitely not the best way to do this. In fact, it was probably the very wrong way to do this, but I literally exhausted every single other method before trying that. I had tried multiple jacks on different angles of that thing, trying to get it up, and I tried, tightening the bolts by hand. I tried every single thing that I possibly could and wasted so much goddamn time yesterday. And the subframe is basically on now. It's almost completely flush, but here we are. Well guys, thank you for watching. My deadline for this car is to have it ready for Riverside in spring. That's March 20th. Now that's plenty of time from now. Today is October 16th. It's plenty of time, provided I don't run into more bullshit like this. Once that subframe is back in there and we're all good with that, it's relatively smooth sailing from there, because I can start dialing in the rear, get everything the way that I want it, get everything mocked up how I want it, and then figure out what I'm going to do about welding the rear end up for the flares, and then obviously the car has to go for body and paint. And still need to repair the bumpers. I still need to get those skirts, which if anybody finds some aim gain skirts, I really need some so that I can trade with Tony from Eliminate to get the Vleen ones that match this kit. Oh, and the entire interior has to be reupholstered in the meantime too. So there's still plenty of content that I can get done with this car, but there's certain things that I'm trying to get out of the way first. Obviously, I can't do anything in terms of welding the rear end up until the subframe's sorted out. I don't want to touch the interior stuff until all of the really dirty stuff is out of the way, because I don't want to then run into the issue of any of the interior stuff getting ruined or damaged by the dirty stuff that I'm doing. The front still needs a little bit of work, but not too much. I want to sell these wheels. If anybody wants these rotiforms, they're 19 by 10.5, -10, 19 by 12, -20, with tires. I'll list them for $3,500. Make me an offer if you want them. They're full polish. I know some people are going to tell me not to sell them, but I already have a set of wheels that I actually want. What else? Probably a bunch of stuff. Still needs a whole lot of things cleaned up. Still need to redo all of the air. There's so much to do. Please guys, go and support by copping some merchandise, because eventually when the brand gets big enough, it will help me get these projects done. Right now I don't pay myself anything, so me building this thing is purely off of the money that I get from photo shoots. So if you want to book a shoot with me, that also helps. But thanks guys for watching. Sorry for dragging this out. Today sucked. Hopefully the next video won't suck so hard. See you guys.